Imagine this. You are walking through a forest just after sunrise. The air is cool, the ground is soft with fallen leaves, and the trees are so tall that they almost touch the sky. You stop for a moment, take a deep breath, and you notice something. Every branch, every leaf, every single part of the tree is reaching upward, stretching itself toward the light. They don't look down, they don't bend sideways. They don't waste energy chasing shadows. They grow toward the sun, no matter how many obstacles are around them. And in that simple act, hidden in the silence of the forest, lies one of the greatest lessons for our lives. We humans are not so different from these trees. We also crave growth. We also search for light in our lives, light in the form of hope, love, dreams, and purpose. Yet too often, we get lost staring at the shadows. We let failures, rejections, criticism, and negativity keep us rooted in darkness. The tree shows us another way. It says, do not waste your time on what holds no light. Instead, lean into the direction of what gives you life. But think about it. How often do we allow one harsh word, one failure, one bad day to pull our eyes away from what really matters? The tree doesn't do that. When a storm bends its branches, it doesn't start growing downwards in fear. When winter strips it bare, it doesn't give up. It holds steady, quietly, patiently, always ready for the light to return. That's the first hook of wisdom here. If we want to rise, we must decide where our light is, and we must keep reaching for it, no matter what. Now picture a small seed buried deep underground. It's surrounded by darkness. It has no guarantee of survival. The soil above feels like a prison, pressing down, suffocating. But inside that seed lives a quiet belief. Somewhere up there is light, and so the seed begins to push, slowly, painfully, breaking through dirt, stone, and pressure. Every push says, I don't know what tomorrow holds, but I trust that light exists. That is courage. That is faith. That is exactly what we need when life buries us under problems. You may not see your light right now, but if you keep pushing, you will break through. And when that seed becomes a tiny sprout, imagine how fragile it is. A single footstep could crush it. A careless hand could pull it out. But still it rises. Why? Because it doesn't waste energy worrying about being small. It doesn't compare itself with the towering trees around it. It focuses on one thing: grow toward the light. Think of how often we compare our small beginnings with someone else's big success. That comparison steals our strength. The sprout whispers, don't look sideways. Don't look down. Just keep your eyes upward. The forest teaches us another secret. No tree grows in a perfect straight line. Some bend around rocks, some twist in strange shapes to escape the shade. Some lean to one side for decades before finding space to grow tall. But still, they find their way up. That is how life works for us too. Your journey will not be a straight road. You will twist, bend, and detour. But as long as your direction is toward the light, toward growth, purpose, kindness, and love, you are still rising. Now let me ask you this. What is your light? For a tree, it's simple. It's the sun. For us, it's harder. Maybe your light is your dream career. Maybe it's building a family filled with love. Maybe it's healing from pain and choosing peace. Maybe it's becoming a person who inspires others. Whatever it is, you must know it. Because without light, growth is impossible. Too many people spend their lives in the shadows of doubt, fear, and negativity. They forget to define their sun. But once you know what you are reaching for, every struggle becomes meaningful. Every challenge becomes fuel. There is a story I once heard about a tree in the desert. It was planted in soil so dry that even weeds refused to grow there. People laughed at the man who planted it. They said, "This tree will die in weeks." But he watered it every day. He cared for it when it was nothing more than a stick. And years later, that tree grew taller than any in the nearby village. Its roots dug so deep that it found water where no one believed water existed. And its branches provided shade to travelers who had nowhere else to rest. The tree proved everyone wrong. It showed that sometimes the harshest conditions create the strongest roots. Isn't that the same for us? The harder your struggle, the deeper your strength grows. But here's where the story turns emotional. A tree doesn't only rise for itself. As it grows toward the light, it creates shade for those below. It becomes a home for birds. Its roots prevent the soil from washing away. In other words, when it seeks its own growth, it ends up helping everyone around it. That is the beauty of true success. If your growth only benefits you, it is incomplete. But if your growth becomes someone else's shelter, someone else's inspiration, then your life becomes meaningful. Now let's pause for a moment. Picture a storm. The wind is howling. Rain is pouring and lightning flashes across the sky. Some trees fall, some lose branches, but many remain standing. How? Because of their roots. You see, it's not the height of the tree that keeps it standing. It's the depth of its roots. That is another lesson for us. If you want to rise high, first grow deep, build character, build patience, build discipline, build kindness. These are the roots that will hold you steady when life's storms try to break you. Without them, even a tall tree will fall. Let me share something personal. Every time I walk in nature, I look at a tree and I remind myself, it doesn't rush, it doesn't panic, it doesn't complain about the seasons. It simply does what it was made to do, grow toward the light, and in that stillness there is peace. Maybe that is what we all need to learn. We are so busy rushing, comparing, doubting, and fearing that we forget the simple act of living the present, growing little by little and trusting the process. Now imagine if you live like that tree. Imagine if every morning, instead of waking up with fear of failure, you asked yourself, what light can I move toward today? Imagine if every challenge you faced, you treated it like soil pressing you down, but you decided, this is not the end, this is my beginning. Imagine if every setback you had became the roots that made you stronger. Imagine if every victory you achieved became the shade you offer to others. What would your life look like then? The truth is, life is short, but growth is endless. The seed doesn't ask how tall it can grow, it just grows. And perhaps we too should stop asking, how much can I achieve? And start asking, how far can I rise if I just keep moving toward the light? Because once you make that choice, once you commit to following the light, no matter what, nothing can stop you. Not storms, not seasons, not shadows. And so, the next time you see a tree, don't just walk past it. Look at it carefully. Watch the way its branches stretch upward. Notice how it doesn't chase the darkness. Listen to the silence it holds. And remember the lesson it whispers to you. Life will bury you. Storms will test you. Shadows will tempt you. But your only task, your only sacred duty, is to keep reaching for the light. Because if a tree, standing silently in the middle of a forest, can grow through storms, seasons, and centuries to touch the sky, then so can you. And maybe, just maybe, one day when others look at you, they will find hope, just like we find hope when we look at a tree rising toward the light.